Hello everyone, thanks very much for joining us for Chapter 5 of Profusion's exploration of UK marketing in 2017. Particular thanks to those who may be returning, having listened to one or more of the previous 4 chapters. The overarching theme for the presentation is around marketing in a digital age, rather than thinking about digital marketing per se, reflecting, I guess, the increasing maturity of the market and the increasing awareness of building effective bridges between the offline and the online world. Underpinning that broad approach, we have highlighted the importance of investment in data architectures, ensuring that you are fit for today's current needs and tomorrow's likely purposes, really encouraging the first steps of integration at the data layer. We'd also mention, as we did during our key marketing themes, the importance of being prepared for the impact of the general data protection regulations as they come through, which will impact on how you organise your data, access your data. So the message that we sent out in the first chapter was good enough is no longer good enough. This 2017 is a real opportunity to invest and to innovate and to think about your future requirements to drive the integration of your marketing from the data level upwards. So here you can see the previous chapters. Today's is the 5th, and we'll conclude the series with Great Expectations, so please look out for that one. But I think the focus on an integrated future is given an additional sort of urgency and importance given the ongoing rumbling debates about sort of advertising communication strategies. Fundamentally, the balance between targeting, and particularly digital and social targeting, versus broadcast reach. So Procter & Gamble and Coca-Cola have been amongst the most high-profile brands challenging digital orthodoxy, if you like. And Byron Sharp, who did some particularly provocative research about the importance of advertising reach versus targeting, is often cited in this debate. It's one to watch, but we would certainly argue the importance of getting the balance between the micro-targeting and the broadcast messaging. So, picking up the theme towards an integrated future, and much as I would love to wax lyrical about the sort of psycho-social, cultural dimensions of our hybrid society, this unique blend of online and offline, which is only going to increase as we go forwards in the coming years, but perhaps a simple fact that might concentrate minds, and it's one that seems to raise eyebrows every time I refer to it, and it's been confirmed by ONS National Statistics data published last week, confirming that in the UK 86% of retail sales remain offline. So 14% of all retail sales in the UK are online versus 86% offline. And I think that simple stat speaks to fundamentally why we need to integrate our marketing activities to better understand the offline environment and how that interacts with our digital communication strategies. Which links perfectly to just giving a moment's thought to the evolution of Amazon. So when I first started putting together these slides, there was much discussion as to Amazon Books, which was a physical retail store that they opened in Seattle in November 2015, and during the course of last year opened stores in San Diego and Portland, with plans afoot for further store openings in Boston and elsewhere in the USA. Back in November, MIT's Tech Review was pondering this very subject as to why such a successful online retailer would feel the need to open physical bricks and mortar stores, particularly arguably in the books category. MIT's conclusion was twofold. One, that Amazon underestimated the sheer persistence and appetite for print products amongst the general public, and we have seen evidence in the UK as well of an uplift in physical book sales since the first wave of ebooks. But perhaps more importantly, MIT highlighted the simple fact that Amazon wanted an even greater share of the retail pie, recognising such a huge proportion of retail spend remains offline, as we've discussed. So the Amazon book store is the main image on your screen at the moment, but of course that's been superseded with December 2016's announcement, the launch of the Amazon Go stores, which I think we should interpret within that context of another step towards dominating the retail landscape both on and offline. So a really important sort of innovation. You'll have seen lots of material talking about the sophistication of the Amazon Go proposition, no queuing, no checking out, all automated interactions within the store. Obviously a goldmine in terms of understanding consumer behaviours within a retail environment, with many applications of that data, improving the online experience, and managing that interrelationship between the two. So watch that space for further innovation in the retail arena, and a particularly provocative quote at the bottom of your screen that pure play web retailing is not sustainable, from the estimable Scott Galloway of MIT. So our next example of an integrated sort of marketing application launched in Q4 of 2016. It was Google's click-to-message platform, linking AdWords with an automated SMS facility, enabling people to directly contact the advertiser, speaking to that need for speed, as we addressed in our sort of key marketing themes, the importance of sort of instant responses, instant gratification for people. And I guess for Google, really leveraging the sort of mobile mindset and, the importance there of building an automated sort of ecosystem, allowing further progress and the shift from SMS in the future to mobile messaging applications. And that is the one probable question mark around this, is the choice of SMS in 2016, 2017, the primary interface. But as I say, I very much see that as a sort of stepping stone towards more sophisticated mobile messaging applications. But the key thing is they're automating the link between the display advertising, the advertiser, and the individual sort of respondent. Equally in the digital space, and particularly in social, you'll all be aware of the proliferation of buy buttons across various platforms. Again, speaking to the importance of immediacy, seamless, frictionless transactions. So think of this in the same context as mobile payments, which has obviously accelerated the fulfilment process. Evidence suggests they've been relatively slow to take off amongst the general public, but the message is loud and clear: sort of persist with them, experiment, optimize their positioning and placement and relevance within the social context, and you can expect to see results start to drive forward in the future. An interesting example of this theme of integrated marketing, and particularly integrating sort of social into the mix, comes from Lidl, who have once again been named as one of the UK's top brands. I think Aldi have won that award for 3 years running, and Lidl in second place. This example was from Christmas of 2016. They called it a social price drop, and the price of Lobster in Lidl in the run-up to Christmas would be determined by the volume of tweet activity that they're able to generate. Suffice to say that the campaign drove 40,000 Lobster sales at the princely sum of £2.99 and was part of a record Christmas sales period for Lidl, with revenues up 10% year on year in December. And Lidl were very quick to attribute some of that success to the profile and interest generated by their Twitter campaign. Another area for integration, and one very consistent with some of the trends that we've touched on in earlier chapters, is thinking about how we leverage public interest in health and health tracking, movement activities, etc., with our appetite for gamification and competition, and ultimately, linking that to rewards for individuals. So on your screen, you can see an image of the Bounce proposition, and this does exactly that, which is linking your activity data from your Fitbit or similar devices, tracking, capturing that material, and ultimately offering sort of retail rewards for people based on their behavior relative to their targets and goals. So I think really interesting. We talked in the context of Pokemon Go about how mobile can effectively bridge the sort of online and offline, get people out of their homes, interacting, doing other activities. I think this is another step forwards. It's generated a lot of interest. I know a number of local authorities are either experimenting or considering using this platform as part of their approach to less active members of their local communities. Which links nicely to the continued sort of growth and development of digital out-of-home media, something we touched on in our 10 marketing themes. For a number of years now, advertisers have been experimenting with mobile and digital out-of-home interaction. And as the market moves forward, we really hope to see more and more sort of innovative applications in this space, leveraging the importance of mobile and smartphones to individuals, creating really interesting real-world, if you like, experiences, extends into community propositions, it enables augmented reality sort of applications. So I think a really valuable way to extend the reach of sort of digital campaigns, and certainly one we expect to see further growth in across 2017. Television advertising, I think it's here to stay. So again, this is an interesting one. So television obviously has been around for 60 years, commercial TV in the UK, and it still continues to dominate a huge proportion of the media landscape. Latest figures from Ofcom suggest that around 85% of all TV viewing continues to be live as scheduled. by the traditional networks. So, obviously 14% shift to time shifted or on-demand viewing is not insignificant. But again, I think it's important to bear in mind that more than 4/5 of all TV viewing is live as scheduled, and therefore that sort of reach and opportunity to connect with people in their homes is as valuable, arguably, as it ever has been. And indeed, in such a fragmented digital landscape, is a crucial sort of anchor for many campaigns. So we hope to see more and more interesting sort of integration of broadcast television advertising with the rest of the marketing mix. Particularly expect to see more integration through the line, so CRM activities linked to broadcast advertising, sponsorship sort of packages, etc. And in the context of both TV and out of home, it is worth just bearing in mind that there is a perception of sort of trust that goes with the public display of your advertising messages, your brand proposition. So out of home particularly has this perception that if you're broadcasting your message out there on a huge sort of digital display or traditional sort of 96 sheet, then there's a trust sort of premium that comes back from that. And a similar way, I think, to TV, as reflected in the trust that people report in TV news programs, for example. All of which adds up to a hugely complex sort of landscape. If we think about integrating retail into our total marketing mix, we're integrating our digital channels, our broadcast channels, etc. We always come back to the fundamental issue of actionable attribution, accurate attribution across all of these channels. And back in the last quarter of 2016, Visual IQ were reporting on a fairly important sort of disagreement as to how we move forward in this space between Gartner and Forrester, obviously two of the leading sort of industry analysts, both coming up with contradictory sort of approaches to integrating on and offline media, addressable and non-addressable channels, etc. We expect to see significant progress in this area. Ourselves at Profusion are continuing to develop and improve our own approach to an integrated and effective attribution model. So I think that will be a major theme for 2017 and one to look out for. Thank you very much, and it'd be fantastic if you can join us for our final chapter, Great Expectations, which sort of knit together consumer mindset that we face in 2017.